Hey guys, it's Always Improving here, and today I'm going to be doing a video that I've wanted to make for a long time. And this video is going to be inspired by Arla Bean's limited color palette videos. I'm basically going to be following the same pattern of colors that she's using and just trying it out for myself because I thought her video was a really good challenge, and it seems really fun to try out some color mixing. So for her video, the first color combination she used was a blue and a red, but it was more of a scarlet color. It was very orangey. So I'm going to pull out some of my watercolors and see what combinations I have. So the first set I'm going to try out is this Winsor and Newton Cotman set. Looking at it, it's kind of dirty, but I do have this orange color here. And then I don't know what this is called, cadmium red. And then I'm going to use, let's see, I think this blue right here. It's nice these pans come out because I can replace them and use them for videos like this. This is an ultramarine blue, nice dark one. And then let's see, the next palette, this is my Turner watercolor set of 18 colors. I'm going to pick out this color right here. I believe this one's called Permanent Scarlet, yep. And then I think this one here, I think it's an ultramarine as well. Yeah, okay. So those four colors, I'm going to test each of those pairs. And then I also think I'm going to use some Daniel Smith right here. I'm going to try out this one here and this last one on the end, these two colors. So a orangish red and a dark blue. Overall, I think these Winsor and Newton colors are really complementary, and they do really tone each other out and neutralize each other, which isn't bad necessarily, just something to note. The next two colors I'm going to use are going to be Permanent Scarlet and Ultramarine from the Turner watercolor set, and here we go. So, like my hunch in the beginning, these colors are so much more saturated and really just vibrant. So instead of kind of canceling each other out and neutralizing like the Winsor and Newton Cotman set, the Turner watercolors really mixed well. They didn't muddy each other up. They almost turned purple, you can kind of see. I really liked this color here. I do not really like it. I think the colors are beautiful, but for like a portrait, probably what I'm going to paint, I think that the neutral colors work better. But before we do that, I'm going to test my final set, the blue and the orangish red from the Daniel Smith watercolors. For me, these test results really brought it down to either the Daniel Smith or the Winsor and Newton Cotman set. So I decided to do a little portrait test between the Winsor, Newton, and Daniel Smith set. But really, it just confirmed my earlier hunch. The contrasting colors that really would neutralize each other worked so much better for a portrait than the bright and saturated colors that the Daniel Smiths had to offer. This isn't to say that I didn't want to work with the Daniel Smith or that the Daniel Smith were worse quality, just that for this painting, the Winsor and Newton Cotman set worked so much better. So in these little thumbnail sketches that I tested out, I really did fall in love with the left sketch that I'm doing right now. I loved the colors, and I loved the concept of this witch who was inspired by like the sun and the moon because of the two colors I was using, the blue and the orange. So I moved on into a sketch on watercolor paper, and I used Fluid 100% watercolor paper, which isn't super expensive, and it's 100% cotton paper. So it's a pretty good middle-of-the-road paper that I really like to use for final works. And yeah, I just sketched out the image real quick. After outlining my sketch in some watercolor pencil, I moved on and added some masking fluid to the background to maintain the white where I wanted the stars to be. I was really excited to use masking fluid again, and I really hoped that these stars would make a really good galaxy in the end of this painting. The first batch of paint that I applied was just a base coat for the skin as normal and the hair as well, maintaining a couple of highlights and denoting a few shadows, but overall just defining the edges and the shapes of the colors of the skin and the hair. I also added a little bit of outlining for her dress as well in this initial step. Once I was finished with that base coat for the skin and the hair, I moved on into detailing some shadows for the skin and facial features as well. I was really happy with the colors I was able to get by neutralizing this orange. It created a really good skin tone and also enabled me to create some browns because I had an orange and a blue that really worked well together. It was really nice because I felt like I was able to get colors that were still warm toned but had a nice dark value to them. So that was really nice for this drawing. I then moved on into detailing some of the hair, and also her lips and eyebrows were all blue, and I felt like it was kind of creating this, it was almost overwhelming, I guess, overwhelmingly blue and orange. It was kind of like a push and pull thing. There was either completely blue or completely orange, and I wanted to kind of fix that. So I started adding a little bit more orange to the blue places and a little bit more blue to the orange places. For example, in her hair, the shadows I made more warm so that it wouldn't be completely saturated and completely just overwhelming blue. And I feel like it actually helped a lot with kind of balancing out this image. At this point, I began to add some detailing to the hair. I just added a lot of variation as usual, some darker blues, some lighter blues, and again, that orange color to neutralize the saturation of that blue and tone it down a bit and kind of just bring the piece to more cohesive theme. Then I also added some detailing to the skin. I added a lot of shadows and I worked on the ear as well. I really wanted the ear to be realistic, so I ended up just pushing it off until later where I could add more detail to it. But for now, I just added shadows to the neck area, to the arms, and generally just finished out the skin detailing. I was pretty happy with how the character looked and how it was turning out, so I decided to go and move on to the background. But first I added some masking fluid to protect what I had already painted, and then I added the dark color to the background. This color was just like a really dark purple, bluish color, almost looked black. I wanted it to look like a night sky, obviously, but it was actually really hard to maintain this dark of a color. And I did have to do a couple of layers to get it as saturated and as dark as the value as I wanted it to. But I will say that the Winsor and Newton Cotman set, that set doesn't have the best, I don't even know. It takes a really long time to wet the colors and to get a good saturation out of them. So to get that dark purple color was especially challenging, but it was useful, and I was able to use the color for a couple of other shadows in this piece, mainly that scrunchie at the top. And finally, I peeled all of that masking fluid back off so that I was able to get in those details and fill in that white space between the character and the background, just to finalize all of that space area in the back. Now I've finished peeling off that masking fluid, and I'm going in and adding a couple of details, fixing up the ear, making it look a little more realistic, and also adding some shadows to the skin and the eyes in this drawing. I also finally added some color and the actual string to the earrings on both sides. I had the nice moon in a very light almost desaturated blue, and the sun in a more bright but also still pretty transparent orange color. The final details in this piece included just adding a couple of little stars in the background just to give it some more depth and some variation in the stars, shapes, and sizes. I also added a couple more details to the face and just generally finished up the painting before calling it. And with that, this video is complete and this picture is done. I really enjoyed the process of this painting and the challenge of mixing these two different colors together to create a cohesive piece, and I really hope you enjoyed seeing this process behind the painting and hope you get some inspiration from it. If you did enjoy the video, I hope you consider liking and subscribing to my channel and checking out some of my other videos. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.